Taoiseach, in your discussions with the religious leaders, did you have any discussion, or your department have any discussion with the Archbishop Eamon Martin? It may have gone under the radar, but just before Christmas, after the Dáil had wound down, he made a statement on the Safe Access Zones Bill, which is what I want to ask you, if you can hurry this up, because there have been protests outside abortion clinics this morning in Limerick, and they're pretty intimidating protests by men carrying rosary beads and aggressively approaching women attending for reproductive health. But the Archbishop's statement, he said, the imposition of so-called safe abortion zones will further silence the voice of the innocent unborn, and these zones increase fears that freedom of religion, belief and expression are being undermined and open to attack. I think that's a pretty serious, aggressive statement when we do need this bill to be fast-tracked through as quickly as possible. And if you could also comment on what the government intends doing, because again, it went under the radar just as we broke up for Christmas in relation to the Dr. Mario O'Shea review and how you're going to legislate implement the recommendations that she made.
I just want to put on the record that the government is very grateful and recognises the work done by the religious in Ireland and all over the world. I think given some of the scandals that have affected churches and religious bodies, and given the existence of religious extremism in the world, that sometimes that can be forgotten, but it shouldn't be forgotten. And we'll all know of people, nuns, priests and other religious people who have made an enormous contribution to society and have given their lives essentially to help others. And we see that in healthcare, education, housing, addiction services, poverty alleviation, for example. And it is easily forgotten that when the state was founded 100 years ago, we didn't have a Department of Social Welfare, we didn't have a Department of Health. Most people at the time didn't consider these things to be matters for the state, and was often left to voluntary bodies and religious bodies to fill that gap. Of course, things have changed so much since then. In relation to the Safe Access Zone Bill, we intend to get that enacted this year. I haven't had any engagement with religious leaders on this specifically, although the last meeting I participated in was 2021, and that was quite some time ago at this stage, but certainly wasn't raised with me by the Papal Nuncio or by the Archbishop of Dublin. In relation to St John of God's, I'm going to have to seek an update from the Minister. I am aware of some of the issues that are facing the organisation, but I am fully up to date. But I'm sure these things will be resolved by negotiation. They always are. But I will seek an update from the Minister on today, given the fact that the deputies have raised it. Just in relation to education about trans people exist. They've always existed. Now they can be more open about it, which is a good thing, but we've a long way to go. And it's my view that it's right that children should learn about people who are transgender and what that means. I would prefer that children learn about these things from their teachers in their schools rather than the schoolyard, and from their loving parents rather than the internet. And if we don't have education in schools, I think we're letting children down in that regard. In terms of trans healthcare, it's a new and evolving area of medicine. It's controversial. There's a lot of disagreement within the profession about what the right treatments and diagnoses and investigations should be. There's so much we don't know about it. Still learning. I think it's very important that NGOs should be consulted. But as with any area of healthcare, really healthcare has to be based on science and science-led, not on politics. And I say that as somebody who's an LGBT advocate and a member of the LGBT community, but really healthcare has to be led by science, not by politics.